Hello, bass family. This is Mike Matthews bringing you more solid fundamentals for learning the left-handed bass. Today our objective is we're going to learn how to properly configure the bass for playing left-handed. Now, the first thing we're going to learn is how it's important for us to have the strings restrung, actually. So instead of having G, D, A, E, you left-handed bass players know what I'm talking about. We're going to restring that. You got to make sure that the bass is restrung, where there's the E's on top, you got the A and the D and the G. So that helps you when you start to learn the positions on the bass. That helps you when you learn the proper positions on the bass. If you have the bass restrung, E, A, D, and G, that way you can learn your positions properly. Okay, the second thing we're going to learn is about the height of the strings. So when you look at these strings, you'll notice that the height of the strings are not that high. Sometimes you see bass players with strings very, very high. The strings are so high it's hard to play the bass. So we're going to have it just like a 1 centimeter off the neck. You know, just high enough where you can get a nice sound from it. Nice sound from it. The third thing we're going to talk about is tuning the bass. So we know that we have these tuning pegs, and to help us to get in tune, we'll use the metronome, or not the metronome, but we'll use the tuner on the metronome. So this is an A. So this is the A string. So you got the A string. So as an A, here's a D. That's a D. Here's a G. Yep, and here's an E. Okay. So a tune is always good to use, and including the piano. It's very important to use the piano, so that way that you can stay in tune. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is holding the bass. So as a left-handed bass, upright bass player, what you want to do is you want to put the bass in your right side. Let it lean on your right side, just like that. Then let it lean into you on your right side. Now after that, we're going to talk, after leaning the bass into you, now we're going to talk about what to do with your hands. Okay, your right hand is going to be on the fingerboard. Your thumb is going to be on the back of the neck, just like that. Just like that, on the back of the neck. And your fingers are going to be right on the fingerboard. Now your left hand, that's going to go on the side of the fingerboard. Well, what you want to do with this is that you want to keep the thumb anchored in one spot, a spot that you feel comfortable with. You know, so when you're playing the bass, so you can get a nice sound. So just on the side, anchored, just like that. Some bass players, they're all over the place. And sometimes, they don't get a solid sound. So what you want to do is to anchor your thumb on the side of that neck, enough to just get yourself a nice sound from the instrument. And remember, even if you have to mark it, where you're going to keep your thumb so you can keep getting a nice sound from the bass. Okay. And so those are at least 6 things that we talked about. How to approach this left-handed bass, upright bass. So we talked about, setting up the strings. We talked about the height of the strings. We talked about tuning the bass. We talked about the proper way to hold the bass. And we were talking about right hand, where you should put your right hand, where you should put your left hand. And, and that's it. So in the next video, we're going to actually talk about the actual positions on the instrument. So we will get into playing the notes and some scales.